If you travel north of Panama or far south of Canada or right east of Tijuana, you'll find water so great. Just please don't that name the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America.
Congresswoman, wow, that was really exciting and fun. The number one takeaway, and there were quite a few, was the Gulf of America. Now, we live actually on what's currently known as the Gulf of Mexico here in Tampa. That would be great to actually call it the Gulf of America. Instead, I fully endorse it. What say you, Congresswoman?
I got to tell you, President's second term as President of the United States is off to such an incredible start, Benny. It's so America first, and we haven't even inaugurated the man. We get him in office officially on January 20th, and I was so fired up watching the press conference today when President Trump said that he's going to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, that I directed my leg staff to immediately draft legislation, and we are entering it right now to officially change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And Congress has to do this because we have to fund the name change in maps. We have to fund the name change through all types of, like the military, FAA, et cetera. And it's absolutely the right thing to do. We change post office names all the time up here. You better bet we are absolutely going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Let's go.
Okay. If your staff can print off a copy of whatever you're writing right now, that'd be amazing. You hold it up live on the show. You show everybody, just like if that's possible. If you're listening, MTG Congressional staff, hand her a copy of the actual bill. I want to promote it. We're not allowed to co-sign it because we're not members of Congress, but we'll do everything we possibly can to endorse this. It's great. I'm tired of living on the Gulf of Mexico. Here in Florida, and here we're in Tampa. We want to be on the Gulf of America. Okay, it was literally right in my backyard. So this is exciting. Donald Trump Jr. has landed in Greenland, and obviously Trump talking very strongly about Canada and Panama. These are some of the big takeaways and certainly what everybody's chattering about online. You're very close, obviously, with President Trump. How serious is he about turning North America effectively into an American hemisphere?
Oh, he is 100% serious, and I 100% back him. This is one of the most important things we can do from a national security standpoint perspective. It's also one of the number one things we can do to grow our economy and dig our way out of this massive $36 trillion in debt. You see, I'm a business person, Benny, and so are many of your viewers, and so are you. This is not complicated. The way to get ourselves out of debt is two ways. We have to cut the spending that we have going on here in Washington, D.C., but we also have to grow a robust economy and build revenue. Those two things together will dig us out of $36 trillion in debt. But the national security perspective is extremely important. We have China is advancing rapidly around the world and taking over South America, Central America, and diving into Mexico. We also have China digging their greedy little hooks into Canada, and they're already mining for rare earth minerals in Greenland. So this is the smartest thing to do for the President of the United States, to not only protect the American people from an enemy that has said they want to control the world within the next decade, but it's also the best thing to do for our entire country and for our businesses, our economy, and especially our kids' future, Benny. And that's most important.
Yes, obviously. I did want to touch on the question that Donald Trump was asked about January 6th and pardons. January 6th, of course, yesterday in the United States Capitol, a day that Donald Trump took over the federal government and did so literally, and it's glorious. And as somebody who's fought, obviously, tooth and nail, and has been one of the few, I think, maybe you and Matt Gaetz were the only people that visited J6 political prisoners in jail and actually went to the D.C. gulag, to your great credit and to the shame of pretty much everybody else in Congress who refused to even acknowledge J6ers. This must come as a glorious piece of news that Donald Trump is going to be issuing thousands of pardons and also investigating some of the people who seemingly weren't charged with the FBI, who were by the FBI, who were behaving quite criminally and in a terroristic manner, like the J6 pipe bomber. I would love to get your commentary on this.
My goodness, this has been such a heartbreaking issue for me for years now. I was one of the first members of Congress to actually go in the jail here in Washington, D.C.
Yes,
back
we
in
don't forget.
November of 2021. I think I came on your show after I did that. And ever since then, I have really tried everything I can possibly do to help these families, help these people, and have been completely powerless and mostly alone in this effort. And the only way we can undo it is the way we did it. We won this election with such a massive victory. And President Trump is going to issue pardons, and he's going to commute sentences. He's looking at all the different angles. I mean, I want pardons across the board. I could care less about what they have to say. And it can't come soon enough, but we're almost there. January 20th is almost here. So I'm urging everyone, hang on a little bit longer. And I know it's been a really hard, horrible road, difficult to hang on to, but we really are right around the corner and relief is coming. And so these people deserve it, Benny. They absolutely deserve it. And yesterday on the Hill, I just want to let you know this. The press was coming up and asking me questions about what do you have to say to Capitol police officers that endured fighting and violence. And you know what I said to them? I said, I thank them for their service, but also let's talk about the police officers that endured BLM, Antifa violence every single night during the summer of love and
Yes.
years. What about the police officers that were attacked in President Trump's inauguration in 2017? So we can't look at this thing through a two-tier justice system anymore. President Trump coming into office, Pam Bondi at the DOJ, Kash Patel at the FBI. Come on, Kash, we can't get you here quick enough. We are really going to right the ship and then go after the people that truly abuse power and hold them accountable for what they've done.
What does that look like, going after the people? Because what I often get on this program, Congresswoman, is, we'll see where the case leads us. Well, we've seen what's evidence for an enormous violation of a huge myriad of constitutional rights. There's been many J6ers who've killed themselves because of the stress of knowing that they would face a DC courthouse that's guaranteed to convict them and destroy their lives. And the damage that has been caused to these families is incalculable.
Yeah.
What does justice actually look like? Will Congress actually give criminal referrals for the people who are responsible for this?
I certainly hope so. And I'll start with this. Benny, there's no way to repay these people for what they've been through. People have committed suicide. Matthew Perna committed suicide along with multiple other January 6 defendants awaiting trial. Families have been broken up. Marriages have been dissolved and divorced. Kids have lost years with their parents. There's no way to pay that back. There's no dollar amount for that. Here's some ideas that I have. Matthew Graves, the U.S. attorney at the Department of Justice that used his office to hunt down people, persecute them, and put them in prison, he should be disbarred. We should look at him with possible criminal referrals. I think he's one we should look at. These judges that hold power in Washington, D.C., they have abused and weaponized the power of their benches and used their courtrooms to lock people up that didn't even go in the Capitol. Lock grandmothers up, veterans up. It is outrageous. These people have been put on lists and labeled as terrorists. Like, all of these things have to be undone. But the people that abuse their power, people like members of Congress like Liz Cheney, Benny Thompson, and others on the January 6th committee, we should look hard into what they have done. That's what I'm for. I wanted to see that for the past 2 years as we held power in the House, and we had a January 6th committee through House admin that did a little bit, but I don't think they went far enough in the past 2 years. I want to see more. And now that we're in power, I think that is finally possible. But then again, Benny, I'm only one member of Congress out of 435. And if I had it my way for the past 4 years, things would be a lot different. And I'm hoping to get to see it more my way going forward.
Good. What'll happen to Liz Cheney next?
Well,
you served with her, right? You must know her. You must know her relatively well. Like, well, what is she guilty of? Like, what do you see the path forward? Trump says that she deserves to be charged and put in prison.
Absolutely. I don't know. Actually, I don't know Liz Cheney well. I'm very proud to say that. She was not someone I wanted to spend any of my time with, even spending conversation with. So no, I don't know her well. but I do know that she needs to be investigated. She should be disbarred as well. And as an attorney, she knows what attorney-client privileges are. And with Cassidy Hutchinson, she absolutely crossed that red line with Stefan Passantino, who was representing Cassidy Hutchinson. And then the committee, Liz Cheney in particular, was about to set Stefan Passantino up so that they could pursue him and go down some horrific witch hunt trail with Stefan Passantino, who's a former President Trump attorney, former White House attorney, and was doing nothing wrong. So these are the types of ways that she abused power. Liz Cheney, of all people, knew better. She knew better, but she did this for political purposes, and she was doing this to take down President Trump himself.
Just moving on to the state of Georgia, your beloved home state that delivered for President Trump this election cycle. Things not going great for Fani Willis. Now we heard last night that there is apparently hard, demonstrable evidence connecting her to the White House and this prosecution of President Trump. This is obviously criminal. Can you give us an update on that? Perhaps you know more than we do right now. What fate awaits Fani Willis?
Well, we'd always suspected, knew all along that she had colluded, her and her lover, Nathan Wade, had colluded with the White House with their case that she built and used as the prosecutor from Atlanta. Shamefully, by the way. Atlanta is one of the cities in America that suffers the worst crime, absolute horrific crime. It's also one of the worst cities in America for child sex trafficking. But Fani Willis didn't go after child sex traffickers, didn't go after criminals that were taking advantage of the residents of the city of Atlanta. Her and her lover, Nathan Wade, actually colluded with Joe Biden's White House to bring this case against President Trump. I have not seen the evidence with my own eyes, so I can't comment further specifically on the evidence, but I look forward to seeing the evidence. And she's another one that is completely involved in politically weaponizing and abusing power. She should be removed from office. We are a Republican-controlled state. My home state of Georgia, we have a Republican governor, Republican lieutenant governor, Republican attorney general, and a Republican-controlled state legislature. Fani Willis should be disbarred and removed from her office if this evidence actually proves her collusion with the White House.
Good. Yes. Finally, some consequences. It'd be very nice to see that, and it'll be very nice to see that in the new Trump golden era that you, again, helped usher in. There's this great photo of you on the phone during the speakership race, the speakership vote, with you calling the new chief of staff of the White House, Susie Wiles. Just wanted to ask, one, great action shot. There's plenty of those of you. You yelling at Joe Biden, I'm not sure that you will ever get better than that, but whatever. You doing that phone call, how involved was President Trump in the speakership race? How intricate was this process?
He was very involved, and congratulations to the photographer who captured that. They must have caught that photo literally when Susie answered the phone. Yes, I had a lengthy conversation with her on the House floor as we were going through the speaker's race. Look, everyone knows I went against Mike Johnson and tried to vacate him from the speakership early last year, after he passed a two-part omnibus, reauthorized FISA, warrantless spying on Americans, and gave $61 billion to Ukraine and $9 billion to Hamas and Gaza. Those were red lines for me. But since then, and since we have won the election, I've repaired my relationship with Mike Johnson, and President Trump asked me to support him. He also asked all of us to support him and vote him in as speaker, and no one else was running for speaker, Benny. So you know what I did, Benny? I did what I asked all my colleagues to do. I put down my pride and my ego, and I said, all right, let's get Mike across the line. And so I was working there hard on the House floor to try to get Mike Johnson the votes he needed so we could elect him as President Trump's choice to be Speaker of the House. And now that we've gotten that done, we're ready to move forward. And Benny, I have to tell you, I'm so lucky that I have such good relationships with President Trump. His new chief of staff, Susie Wiles, we're so proud of her. Caroline Leavitt, Stephen Miller, and all the others that are going to be working closely with us in Congress to help pass President Trump's agenda.
Okay, so just that's a perfect launching point into final question here. What is that agenda? What can we expect to see? We're hearing some rumors of like a mega MAGA bill that will come out of the House with an enormous slate of agenda items all locked up together. This is kind of what we were hoping to get in the first Trump term when we had unified control of government. Is that happening? Is that being written right now? Or are you helping writing it?
Yeah, we are working on it right now. And thank you for asking me. I am a big supporter of one big, beautiful bill, which President Trump calls it. And let me tell you something. I'm going to call out my colleagues, every single Republican I serve with, and every single Republican in the Senate. Guess what? There's no excuses. We all have to get to work, and we better get this done because the American people gave us a mandate on November 5th of 2024. We don't have a choice. And so this is not something that we get to bicker about and have in-party fighting. This isn't something where someone tries to get attention online or get attention out on the steps in front of the Capitol. This is something where we absolutely have to get in a room and put down our own agendas, and we have to work together to fulfill this mandate. And Benny, let me tell you, we can do it. There is no reason why we can't do it unless we get in our own way. And so I'm committed absolutely to helping President Trump get this across the line. I will call out any one of my colleagues that is getting in the way of the American people's mandate because we have to do it. We have very little time to get it done. It's a matter of national security. It's a matter of economic security. And it's a matter of being successful so that, guess what, Benny? We can win the midterms just a short time from now and keep it going again for 2 more years to finish out President Trump's administration.
Yes. I mean, it would be really great to have less lies out of Congress, like that we're going to do this and actually see the rubber hit the road. And you're exactly right. There is no more friction in Congress against President Trump and against this mandate. I mean, you have Mark Zuckerberg coming out today being like, nope, I'm going to unite with President Trump and fight for free speech around the world. This is, I mean, it's a wild and astonishing moment. I wanted to end quickly here with something that quite shocked our audience, which was Mitch McConnell's absence yesterday from the certification of Donald Trump, and also Nancy Pelosi in a walker. I know she had a bad fall. A lot of people saying term limits now for Congress is very popular, and saying that there's just a cast of leadership that is totally and completely out of touch with the American people and are just not cognitively or physically capable of doing this job. Just your takeaway thoughts on that.
I 100% agree. We should have cognitive tests here in Congress. Cognitive tests for people that serve in elected positions, period. I also believe in physical tests. Look, here's the problem. We have so many elderly people holding office here in Washington that their staff actually become their caretakers. You wouldn't believe how many members I serve with that have been here for decades, Benny, and their staff roll them in a wheelchair, help them stand up, hand them all their vote recommendations, basically telling them what to do and how to do their job. And no one voted for their staff. No one voted for that. And the American people are not paying for elder care. That's not what members of Congress are here to do. This isn't an assisted living, but yet the Congress and the Senate has turned into an assisted living for many members of Congress. And I have to tell you, the American people should be outraged. You should be screaming from the rooftops, enough of this assisted living in Washington. It has to stop. You didn't vote for the staff, Benny. Nobody voted for the staff. You voted for a person to serve you, the American people, your district or your state. And they can't serve you when they're late in age, and we all get there. We will all get there. But for the love of God, let's not all get there when we hold such power and responsibility. Yeah,
so, I mean, it's a terrible motivation if you are not going to be experiencing the consequences of the policies that you're passing. If you're so old that you won't really be around in the next 10 years, then what motivation do you have actually to pass good laws? Or to fix the deficit? You don't. It's terrible. It's gerontocracy. The Constitution was ratified by a bunch of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds.
That's right.
Who actually wanted a country to live in. right? And wanted to provide for their family. And so anyway, we pray at this program for everybody to have the same energy that Marjorie Taylor Greene has. You, of course, should follow Marjorie Taylor Greene on social media. One of the best cover images online with her and Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump laughing at a golf course. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Marjorie Taylor Greene. Join the 1.4 million people who follow her on X and fight with Marjorie. Godspeed, Congresswoman.
Thank you, Benny.